This study just came out in Research in Autism Spectrum Disorders, and the authors are Amy Kenzer, Michelle Bishop, myself, Courtney Tarbox, Tara Landigan, and a few others contributed. And basically what we did was we took kids who were afraid of having their teeth brushed and didn't want the toothbrush in their mouth and didn't want any dental procedures happening in their mouth at all. And we gradually desensitized them to it using really big positive reinforcers or rewards, and really gradually fading in the demands. So slowly that the kids almost didn't notice that it was happening. And in the course of, I don't know, a few weeks or a month or so, all of the kids that participated in this study would tolerate their mother brushing their teeth, or father, whoever the caregiver was, brushing their teeth for, the full dental recommended duration or whatever. So they went from, screaming, crying, running away at the beginning of the study, no successful toothbrushing at all. The parents would try to do it when they're asleep or whatever, but basically it just wasn't happening. By the end of the study, no problem. Mom says, okay, let's brush your teeth, and the kid says, okay, and brush their teeth, and they're even smiling, and it's a game, and it worked great.
Okay, so this is great, and I need this because my child brushes his own teeth, but we're not getting enough, right? And not vigorously enough, and when I try to do it, it's a nightmare. It looks like a clown car. Things are popping out of things. It's just like insanity, and he's moving away from me, and I'm chasing him with a toothbrush, and the dog is barking, and it's mayhem. It's total mayhem.
So here's the key to what we did. As you know, and as I think probably most of your viewers know, if you don't want a kid to escape from something, you can, there's a couple of different things you can do. You can put escape behavior on extinction, which means you kind of just make them follow through with it anyways.
Which is me following him with a toothbrush.
And that will work, but it also encourages the kid to try to escape in the short run. You might get extinction bursts, which means the kid gets more upset and tries harder to escape. And it's basically not that much fun. It'll work if you're consistent, but man, you got to be consistent. Another way to decrease escape-maintain behavior is to remove the motivation to escape. So you make the situation something that the child isn't motivated to escape from. So there's a lot of different ways to do it, but the two biggest ways to do it are to use lots of positive reinforcement in the situation, so that makes the whole situation more rewarding and more fun. But the other main thing that we did, really the key component, is to decrease whatever the kid doesn't like about the situation, decrease it to the point where it's just not even present anymore, and then gradually fade it back in. So let me give you an example.
Yes, please.
Let's say this is a toothbrush, and you want to brush your child's teeth. You might say, all right, we're gonna, let's brush your teeth, open your mouth, and just kind of go for it, Well, immediately you're presenting a situation your child wants to escape from. So what you're doing is increasing motivation to escape. What we want to do is decrease motivation to escape, So what we did was we came up with, I think it was like a 30-step procedure, where the first step was such a minor amount of toothbrushing that there was no motivation to escape. So it's something like this. Okay, let's brush your teeth. Great job! Give them a reinforcement.
And it sounds ridiculous, but this is what worked. Let's remind ourselves this is what worked.
It worked for all three kids. And it worked, and even though it was slow and tedious, they were done, and they liked toothbrushing by the end. And so overall, it actually worked in a shorter amount of time. Because how long have you been hassling with this problem, Forever.
He's going to be 10.
So step one is, we're going to brush your teeth. Show him the toothbrush before he even has an opportunity to resist. Hide the toothbrush, give a reward, like that. You don't make him do anything. Just show him Step two, and you do that a few times until basically what starts to happen is your kid gets used to just looking at the toothbrush, And you do it from about this far away, Next, step two is something like this. We're going to brush your teeth. Great job! So now instead of seeing the toothbrush for half a second, you see the toothbrush for like 2 seconds.
And can I tell you that I love that you're showing it this way, because I would try to rush it. I would try to rush it, let's be honest. So I love that.
So you do that multiple times until your kid's used to that and not trying to escape. And in fact, here's the cool thing is, they're not going to try to escape if you just go like this. So you avoid the problem to begin with. And what you're doing also, though, is using positive reinforcement, huge positive reinforcement. So you're reinforcing your child's behavior of paying attention and not running away,
How do you know how soon to change it? Like, did you do this 3 days? Was it the same with all three kids? You gauge it on the child?
Well, we had a criterion that we came up with. It's all there in the article. I forget exactly what it was, but it's something like probably like 3 trials in a row without any escape behavior and without any screaming or something like that. And as long as they're successful, then on the next day you go to step 2. And then as long as they get that 3 trials in a row, the next day you go to step 3. And it might be more than 3 trials. It might be like 6 trials in a row or something like that. And I don't think there's any research proving that it has to be this criteria or that criteria. You just have to have a criteria so you know what you're doing and be consistent. What we also then did was we would probe ahead a couple steps every now and then just to see, seems like he's doing really well. Let's skip ahead a couple steps. And instead of going, 1 second, 2 seconds, 3 seconds, let's skip ahead to placing the toothbrush 6 inches from the mouth for 1 second and just see if he can tolerate that. And if he can, great. Then we just skip 3 steps, right? If he can't tolerate it, no problem. Go back to the earlier one. Okay? At no point were we ever making the kid do any of the steps. So this, and your viewership needs to pay attention here and be very careful. This is the opposite of what we normally recommend, right? We intentionally let the child escape if he had bad behavior. And the reason why we did that was because we wanted to let him know this is not going to be scary. We're not going to force you to do anything. We're going to just motivate you to make the choice to do it. And so if the kid turned his head, pushed the toothbrush away or ran away, we'd say, no problem, we're done for the day. You can escape. No big deal. Start again the next day at a lower step. So the idea is you increase the steps where the amount that you increase it each time is just under the step of what would really be noticeable to the kid. So you figure out, you make a guess, an educated guess as to what's going to be noticeable, make the kid mad, and you do a little bit less than that.
Now, when you read the actual study, does it detail the 30 steps that you went through in the study?
I'm not sure that it has all 30 steps, but it probably says something like contact the author for all 30 steps, and all you do is email us, and we send you all 30 steps.
I'm contacting you. So how do you make the leap from you're getting closer and closer to getting in the mouth? And then how do you make the leap to brushing?
Again, I forget the exact steps that they came up with, but it's in fact, I think it was my wife that originally came up with these steps, Courtney Tarbox, and she designed the protocol. So I'm contacting her. You can do that. But no, I mean, we have all the steps. I'll give them to you. I just can't remember all of them. But it was probably something like this, like tolerate the toothbrush right here for a second, then maybe 2 seconds, then maybe open your mouth when the toothbrush is right here. And then once they do that, then maybe tolerate the toothbrush in between the lips for 2 seconds or something, like that. Like literally so gradual that the kid, it's just stupid, basically. It seems stupid in the moment.
Except it worked and it got it done.
It works, and each step is a small piece of progress, but they accumulate. And by the end, literally the kid's laughing, sometimes even requesting toothbrushing. Why? Because he gets reinforcement, right? So you use a big reinforcer.
Give me an example of one of the reinforcers that you did with the kid that was a big... I know reinforcement is very personal, and I'm putting you on the spot because it was a while ago.
Well, and each kid's different, right? So there was nothing standard, but what it would be, like if I was going to do this, I'd ask the mom, look, what's the one thing that he's just dying for and that you maybe is even a little too much, right? So a lot of moms are going to report, well, probably like, the iPad or Minecraft or something like that, So you say, okay, fine. How about this? While we're running this, don't give it to them any other time except when we're teaching toothbrushing. Or you could be more reasonable. Like limit the amount of this reinforcement that he gets to no more than 30 minutes a day. For the duration of time that we're working on toothbrushing. So the only way he can really get the one thing that he really, really wants is for progress, is for trying hard on this particular lesson. And of course, you're not going to limit things that are necessary for health. Like you're not going to limit going to the bathroom. You're not going to limit food, clothing, things like that. But it is your right to limit junk food, right? So you could say the only way he's going to earn his very favorite junk food is for this. Or whatever.
I'm thinking about Jem, what he wants more than anything else is a microphone to be able to use on his video games. And we've said it's not happening. But that's like the thing that he would do anything for. So if I said to him, if you do this, you can have 15 minutes of microphone time a day. That would work. It's a little bit delayed.
It depends on the child's verbal capabilities too, to talk about and understand the future. But if your child's verbal enough, you could even make a chart that has 30 steps, like from smallest to largest. It could be a visual chart. And every time he masters, let's say it's a 30-step procedure, right? Every time he masters a new step, you color in the new step. You say, that's amazing, great job. The next day, let's work on the next step. If he masters it, color that in. And when you get step 30 mastered, we're going to go buy you the microphone. We'll take you to Best Buy immediately, buy you the microphone. That's what I do. Well, no, it just depends, right? Only if your child has the verbal capabilities to talk about the future like that and understand it. But you still want to give some intermediate reinforcement too. Like, you know what, here's 10 minutes extra of TV time. Or let's just take 10 minutes out of our night and not do any work or bills or cooking or anything else and just have fun for 10 minutes. Whatever it is, you're going to need some reinforcers in the moment too, but it's great to have a longer term goal too. Let's say, but this same protocol is going to work for a kid who's non-vocal and has no ability to talk about rules or contingencies of the future. It's going to work fine because the reason why it works is graduated exposure to the thing he's scared of and positive reinforcement. And you don't need language for either of those processes to work.
Right. Fascinating. See, this is the kind of stuff that they talk about at ABAI that will explode your head. Because it's these day-to-day things that seem like not a big deal, like you would never pack your car and go to a conference to figure out how to brush your kid's teeth, but when you get there and you learn it and go, okay, I wouldn't have thought of it that way, and it has the potential to change your whole day.
And you know, we talk about short-term benefit versus long-term benefit.
Yeah.
The short-term benefit of doing a really slow fading procedure like this, you know, with the steps that are so small they seem ridiculous. The short-term benefit seems absurd. It seems like, are you joking? I don't care if my kid can look at a toothbrush for 1 second, right? Short-term benefit seems absurd. But the long-term benefit is almost impossible to measure. Like you said, you can work on a problem. You can literally get angry about a problem every day. For years of your life, right? By doing the same old thing. Or you can do a new procedure that is angering in the moment, but could save you years of frustration if you just really do it.
Well, not only that, I mean, you know, think about you know, we have a friend who just recently had to take her child to get dental work, and it's going to be 5 weeks of dental work, thousands of dollars, and the kid traumatized every single time they go and traumatized when they leave. And
and you can bet it's not going to teach them to like the dentist because they're not going to do it slowly. They're not going to do it with reinforcement. They're just going to do what they do. You know, they might restrain them. They might put them under, you know, just knock them out, put them under general anesthesia, whatever it is. But it's not going to be fun.
Unpleasant.
Now, this same research group, Amy Kenzer and Michelle Wallace, are in our Phoenix office, have also been doing other dental procedures too. So we haven't published anything on that quite yet, but they've taught kids to tolerate flossing, tolerate mirror in the mouth, tolerate X-rays, tolerate basically everything, having their teeth cleaned, and it's all the same basic procedure. Break it down to baby steps. Don't force the kid to do it. Give them a break when they want to break, but also use huge positive reinforcers.